I'd like to call to order February 14th regular board meeting, Rockridge School Board. Anybody wants a copy of the agenda, they can go online at rockridgerrps.org, district information, school board, and board book. And anyone here at the meeting can get it. We have copies of the agenda at the door. At this time, will everyone rise? Pledge allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. We'll do a roll call. Randy?
Here.
Tom? Here. Bill? Here. John? Here. Matt? Here. Polly?
Here.
Nicole?
Here.
Casey is absent. And Tim is here. We have 8 board members. There is a couple corrections on the agenda. 6.4 is the HVAC system. We will be taking that off the agenda. The facilities meeting did not recommend that to the board. I'll show that Stacy is here, so we have all 9 board members.
So just so people understand why 6.4 is removed is the facilities meeting did meet and talked about replacement of 10 rooftop units around this building. The 10 rooftop units that are ground mounted, and at this time we just didn't feel that it was necessary to have to replace them, or we could just repair them because we don't know what the build out is going to be and such like that, so we just decided not to move forward with it at this time.
Very good, thank you, Bill. Under the consent agenda, 4.12, the future leaders, one name was omitted, so we will be adding Amanda Morley. Amanda Morley.
Is that Tim? Which one? 4.12.
4.12. Is there anything else? Looking for approval of the agenda then?
I move to add to the agenda masking mandate for discussion and possible action.
Masking.
And can I make a request that we put that after the consent agenda, please?
And that was this part 2 of that, yes. And that would be my intention too, to put it first on the agenda, the regular agenda.
So you want to put it in reports or admin items?
I was asking that it be placed before reports, so.
We will put it as 5.0.
Right after the consent agenda.
Correct. Thank you.
Are you fine with that?
Yes. I think we need a motion, a second, and a...
Got a second, John?
Got the second.
Okay.
Motion was made by Polly, second by John. I'm just taking notes here. All those in favor of the... Oh, no, excuse me.
Adding.
Have a motion for to adopt the agenda as amended.
I think Polly, weren't you saying that you
You want a motion and a vote on the masking?
We have to do that first before we approve the agenda, and then I have another addition to the agenda after we vote on this one.
What is your other one, Polly?
I'll move that we put on the agenda for discussion the situation of visitor input. A lot of confusion, and I know in previous meetings, we thought that we would send it back to committee and then come back to discuss it and vote on any changes or no changes. And
I'll second support.
We have a motion by Polly, second by Nicole.
right after
How are we gonna do these? Are we gonna do them individually, or?
individual.
We have 4 changes now.
Yeah,
In my opinion, I guess I'm just assuming, so you've amended the agenda, so I would say that whoever is making a motion is making a motion to accept the agenda item, to accept the changes, as well as adding the discussion and potential action on the masking mandate, as well as
that would be policy 206.
as well as the request for discussion on visitor input.
I would keep them separate, and those were separate motions of mine, so.
Okay, so we have major things being added, the masking mandate. Motion by Polly, second by John. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That aye was Stacy and Tom and Tim. I voted against. It wins 6-3. The agenda. Policy number 206, motion by Polly, second by Nicole. The motion would be adding that onto the agenda. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
That was Stacy. Matt? Have to have a mask on. Stacy, Matt, Tim, and Tom. That wins 5-4. Okay.
Sir, you must wear a mask or you will be asked to leave.
Thank you, sir.
Sir, you're going to have to leave.
Mandates are not a law.
Tom, you have to wear a mask in the school building.
Mandates are not a law.
Do I need to call law enforcement to have you removed?
Go ahead.
Just go put a mask on or
Come on, Tom.
go outside.
Come on.
Do I need to call?
It's up to you.
Just call.
Okay, we are going to do an approval as the amended agenda. I'll wait for Stacy to come in. Oh, here, Brandy, get that.
Thank you. Stacy Lampa, do you have anything you need me to sign? I'm going to be heading over soon. Head off after the first.
Yes.
Thank you.
I apologize for the delay here. Especially to you, Brandy.
Yeah, yeah. My daughter will be understanding.
I was gonna put it here. I'll use it.
I guess we all do too.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you for letting me do that.
But I'm not getting any headway.
Sounds like, just give me the address.
Want to take a break? Some,
She should be done. She's just winding down, so she didn't have the address, so. Okay, I would like a motion to accept the amended agenda or the agenda as amended. Is there a
I'll make
motion?
that motion.
There's a motion by Nicole, support by Tom. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried, 9-0.
Did we say we were put 206, did that pass or did that fail? I guess I did.
I'm sorry?
That two,
206 passed, 5-4.
okay, did we say where we're gonna put that?
I'm going to put that at 6.6. I'm sorry, I apologize.
Okay.
That's what I was writing. Okay, we have no visitors on input tonight. Consent agenda. Is there a motion to accept the consent agenda as presented?
And I will support.
recognition of visitors?
He said there was none.
There is none.
I think at least I received some email for visitor input. And that-
Motion by Brandy, second by, was that you, John?
we skipped visitor input, I'm sorry.
There was no visitor input that came through me or the office. Thank you.
That wasn't already.
I sent you one, you never,
I sent one.
you denied me.
Denied me.
Anything.
And because we've added to the agenda now at the table,
Oh,
we
Polly, we are going to move on. We have a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
point of order.
Aye.
Opposed?
Point of order, we go by Robert's rules, and point of orders are very, are
We go by a version of Robert's rules. We
Our
don't,
policy says, yes.
we don't go by.
Point of order, we have added to the agenda,
Sarah's
so
the one that is in charge of running the meeting.
Polly, drop it. Are you voting for the consent agenda or against it?
I have a point of order.
I'm asking you one more time.
I abstain.
You abstain, okay, so it was 8-0-1 abstention, Polly. Thank you. Now moving on to 5.0, the masking mandate and policy. Those that made the motion, tell us what's on your mind.
I'm thinking that, we need to look at removing the masking mandate. And I agree with removing the masking mandate and having a discussion. We've received a number of emails regarding it. I'm good with having a discussion at the next meeting regarding the COVID plan. But for right now, and I'm just going to say, you know, I've gone to a number of away games for basketball, and I've probably had to wear a mask one time. It doesn't seem to be what's happening in other districts, and I'd support removing the mask mandate at this time, and again, discussing at the next meeting the COVID plan.
I'll support. Is that a motion?
I'll make that a motion.
So
Effective immediately?
immediately,
I would like to make it effective.
right after the vote.
Well, I think-
I would like to make a suggestion if I can interrupt, and then you can decide if you want.
Are we having discussion on
We have a motion on,
We're having the discussion,
we have a motion on the table.
Yes, we do.
I will entertain what you have to, being that I made the motion, I will entertain.
Randy made the motion, and it was approved, seconded by Nicole.
Polly,
Polly? Okay. Noel will be back in the school on Wednesday. And my suggestion is that we put it in force if this passes on Thursday, so that the admin team can get a plan and know what's going on, rather than reading it on Facebook or finding it out tonight on the internet. And the admin team then has to scramble. That's my only input on this.
I would be willing to compromise in that.
So your motion would be starting Thursday morning?
I'd be willing to compromise with that, being that he's out, but here's the thing, I know that, it was said about having it on the agenda at the next meeting, but, I didn't feel like we needed to wait for the masking mandate. I believe that having a discussion on the COVID plan, we can wait for that portion. But the masking mandate, again, I guess I'll compromise and I'll say Thursday so that they can inform staff. Well, the information needs to get out to everybody as well. I mean, I
feel
don't
like
need
if
to
you don't wear a
entertain.
mask though in school, you shouldn't be disciplined from now to Thursday. That's my thing. There should be no discipline because it is going to get out
Yeah.
that it's happening.
We have
So
enforcement dates on lots of things, and I guess my concern is that we're acting by surprise without really giving notice to the public that we would be talking about masking tonight.
well, I think a lot of the
Or even
public
having
knows
any
that.
data on it. We don't operate by surprise, we operate with data and information, and I'm just concerned about throwing this on the agenda kind of at the last minute. And
It wasn't last minute. 4 people, I think,
It was-
I've asked to be
it
put
was-
on.
It was put on, I know, but Tim said we would discuss it at the next meeting, and here we are amending the agenda at the last minute without proper notice to the public. I think that's a disservice to our constituents, our staff, and our students.
I think our constituents would be really happy with this outcome.
Well, your constituents might, but.
Honestly, they're all my constituents, all of
They
them.
are.
I don't,
They are.
maybe you have specific constituents, but I have all of
You know
them.
what? Just so we don't get off the deep end on this, I would imagine that every one of us have people on both sides of the fence And it doesn't do any of us any good to say it's a majority or all. We're making a major
Can I have a just,
proposal here.
can I say something? I'm piggybacking off of what Brandy said. I too have been to all these schools. I've been to schools that have masking mandates, and guess what? They're not enforced. In fact, they're not even enforced at our own school. So I don't think this is a big deal. I really don't.
But
we were together at the Minnesota School Board Association. Every person I saw that lectured or presented, every single one of them, and there was probably like 20, and Brandy, you can attest to that, they all took off their masks. Why? Because they can't speak or get communication effectively with their mask on. Every one of them. And those are our leaders. When we were under a mask mandate in Minneapolis, none of them had them on.
There are exceptions for people presenting.
We were in small little rooms, and they said, I hope you don't care, but I'm taking off my mask. That's what they said each time.
And I guess I'm playing devil's advocate here. I know that there are people on both sides of masking and not masking, and I'm willing to make that compromise to give people a heads up that we're going to discontinue masking, and also give admin time to be aware of what our decision is. And Thursday's 3 days away. I'm willing to make that
Can you explain to
compromise.
Me what do they need to prepare for?
Yeah.
It's like,
Well,
the masking mandate is done.
Yeah.
My
thought is,
could I please?
yeah, sorry, Polly, sorry.
If it's effective immediately, it's effective immediately. And there's no preparation. It's just something was here and now it's not. Whether they hear it tonight or whether they hear it.
Brandy's motion says. Brandy's motion says.
Please, you're interrupting me,
I am.
Well,
Polly, I understand what you're saying.
I have an opinion, and I'm giving my opinion that immediate.
And we've heard,
Hey, Tim, just let her speak.
Would you just let me finish? I'm the only one that gets cut off here on this.
I'm not cutting you off, continue.
Okay.
I'm just cutting off
Again,
side chatter.
I'll repeat because I was interrupted. I feel that there's no reason why it cannot be effective immediately. There's nothing to prepare for. And whether people find out or not, just because Noel is here or isn't here, it doesn't matter. We are the board, and he carries forth our decisions collectively as a vote. And so whatever he may or may not have to say to me is irrelevant.
And it's hard for the leader of our school to carry something out when he won't be here. That's all I'm asking.
All those buildings have principals too.
You know what, okay, so here's the thing. I did have a discussion with Noel before the meeting today and asked if this was being put on the, going to be put on the agenda or not. And he said that he anticipated that it could potentially be put on the agenda. So I guess he is aware that we are potentially making this decision. I guess, I'm going to backtrack because again, the reason why I wanted to be here today and the reason why I'm missing senior night for my daughter's basketball game is because I didn't think that we needed to wait 2 weeks before removing the masks. I didn't think that was necessary. So I'm going to backtrack and I'm going to stick with my motion and make it effective for tomorrow.
And I would just like to say one more thing, is that this could have been on the agenda tonight, so everybody could have known, and the public. There were multiple board members that I understand through social media requested it to be on the board, but our board chair unilaterally decided that it was not going to be on the agenda. So it could have been on the agenda for everybody to know.
We do elect chair. One of the chair's primary duties is to set the agenda.
It's true, but when you have 4 board members, and again, I learned through that from social media, and maybe even more, ask for something to be put on the agenda, it should be put on the agenda.
Hey,
We all have one vote, and just the position of chair, I think, should be fair, and I think that was very unfair. Multiple board members, not just one, requested it to be on the agenda.
All the board members that contacted me in different aspects. They did not say masking. Now, after social media or collaboration, they all came back with the same thing. So let's not go there as a board, because that's not appropriate. We have a motion
Okay.
by Brandy's,
So I want to.
second by Polly. The motion is to immediately discontinue masking
Tomorrow.
immediately.
I'd say
Yeah.
immediately.
Tomorrow.
Why not?
We're not immediately.
What, I guess it's your
Who said
mo-
immediately?
Because I'm thinking of the kids, and the kids are, they're already doing their thing, they're doing it tonight, so that's why I'm saying tomorrow.
Well,
Effective tomorrow, the kids won't be wearing
I
masks.
might pull my second because I think it should be immediate.
So everybody done talking? I have a question. Jeff, you're the COVID guy. Where are we with numbers right now?
Actually, we're looking for actual cases in the school.
Yeah.
Where we are in St. Louis County?
According to
Central St.
Jeff,
Louis County.
according to Jeff, his memo the other day was we were at
I saw that.
37, okay? So that's
I
the,
want Jeff to say it.
okay, 37. And I think those numbers are arbitrary anyway.
I do too.
What was it? 22 cases, so we went up,
23.
23, we went up from last week.
No,
No.
Down.
Oh, down, okay.
So where are we in St. Louis County?
the last St. Louis County number was 132.
136. I think last year we closed school at 30.
Which was a shame.
Okay, all we're doing is getting numbers here, let's,
Can I just say one fact? I like to say 0 children from the start of COVID under the age of 25 have died in St. Louis County. We are expecting those with the least risk to carry the burden.
Well, have you
But right
looked at
now,
what the hospitals are reporting as far as available beds? And as a mother of a type 1 diabetic, if my children goes into distress, there is not a hospital bed up here to be found.
You're being personal, and I can make it personal too, because
Well,
I know.
think you're personal because you don't even
See,
say.
Can we just-
I know for a
can we
fact
just
you
stick-
guys don't
Hey,
know her.
enough.
Can we just,
Wearing masks.
can we,
Your daughter
it doesn't
really
matter,
keeps
can you
one
not bring up other people's children?
Well, I'm
But,
just
okay,
saying,
so-
you kids into it.
enough. We're gonna take the vote.
So,
We're gonna take the vote.
for immediately or for tomorrow? Because I'm good with either, because I'm just
What-
concerned about the kids.
My second is for immediately, so I might pull my second if it's not immediate.
Polly. Tell me what you want.
I think it should
Brandy?
be, yeah, what's the difference if we
I'm
wait?
concerned with
a
the
few more
kids.
hours?
That's my biggest concern, is concern for the kids and masking. So if the board wants to remove
No,
the
you
masks.
have to tell me so we can vote on it.
Immediately.
Immediately.
And that's.
So we
I will
have, and
second.
Polly will second that. And the caveat also with that is that the COVID plan will be, a new COVID plan will be presented by the admin team on 2/23.
Can you,
That's not part of her motion.
can you on
Yes,
this,
that's what she said in her motion.
The COVID plan is going to be
Yeah.
on the, thank you, Tim. Yes, the COVID plan will be up for discussion on the next agenda.
I'll support that.
All those in favor
How
signify.
about discussion?
We've had discussion. You want to discuss?
Yeah. We just got the motion out. So after you have a motion, you ask for a discussion,
The motion was
correct?
made. I'm just clarifying it before the vote, Matt.
Well, we just had the motion clarified 20 seconds.
Okay, share what you have to say.
Go ahead, Matt.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, not a problem.
I mean, I certainly hear both sides of this. I mean, I think if people were aware that we were going to be talking about this tonight, who would like the mask mandate to stay, we would have heard from them. Certainly read all the emails. It was obviously a organized thing, and we don't get an email on the subject for many months, and then you get 20 of them in a 2-day period. Kid says, when he's home a couple weekends ago, he says, God, I hope I can go to school at UMD without wearing a mask before the end of the year. Then last week I have a teacher thank me who's senior, not as old as I am, but she thanked me. She says, you know what? I feel a lot safer at work. I'm in close contact with 100 kids a day. I feel protected. I don't want to get the stuff. So, I mean, I hear it both ways. I'm more convinced than ever that we did the right thing in September. We kept our school open. A lot of schools throughout the state ended up closing or going to remote learning. We didn't have to do that here. But, I mean, there comes a time, and as someone who probably looks at the numbers way too often, there is no question that the numbers are coming down as fast in the state as they went up. If you extrapolate the numbers from St. Louis County, particularly the 7-day moving average, which is what I pay attention to, we're below where we were in late September when we passed the mask mandate. At that point, they were going like this. Now they're coming like this. And not only that, we've gone through, we have a few more months left in the school year. The numbers are going the right direction. And I just think it's time now. It wouldn't have been time. I'm willing to support this now. I certainly would not have been a month ago. The numbers peaked about a month ago today, and we're at levels now extrapolating and interpolating that they would continue as they report. We'd be below where we were countywide. I still am concerned over the hospitalizations. There were more pediatric admissions in January in St. Louis County, I believe, than in the rest of the pandemic combined. And that is a concern of mine. But that being said, I think there comes a time, and personally, I think the time is on Thursday, but I guess I'll support it immediately.
I agree with you. There's been a number of, I've also spoken to teachers as well who feel like they have been sick less with colds and other things. So I have heard from both sides as well. And yes, it was an overwhelming number of emails we got over the last few days. But again, you know, I still feel the same way I did way back when, with, you know, the way they're worn, the other things we could be doing. Yeah, and like I said, with basketball, it's just been.
Teachers have been reaching out to me on a personal level.
I think we've talked enough, then we can have the vote here.
We're still in discussion.
Yes.
I just think it's such a disservice to put this on by surprise and not give people an opportunity to do input. This is not the way we run board meetings typically.
I know.
We're trying to sabotage everything and not give people who are supportive of masks, not give us an opportunity to talk to Noel. I haven't talked to Noel.
No.
I haven't gotten data, which I would like to do before I make a decision like this, and I think it's disgraceful and disrespectful to the rest of the board, and that's all I have to say.
And Stacy, I hear what you're saying. And like I said, initially I would have gone with that, but when I was debating this in my head.
So you get a chance to talk to Noel and I don't, because I don't know that this is going to be on. That's unfair.
Well, just based on the number of emails that we got.
And not one in support of the mask. It was an organized effort, as Matt said, and now it has taken over by surprise, and I think that's a damn shame.
Well, again, I understand.
I hope it doesn't turn into a trend here, because it certainly shows that the squeaky wheel gets the grease. And I agree with Stacy. Now we're going to take the vote.
That is your opinion and Stacy's opinion.
All those in favor?
I agree, Stacy.
All those in favor?
Of what?
Having,
I want to hear it again.
removing the masking mandate immediately and having the admin team bring a COVID plan at our next board meeting. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
No. So we have Tom, Tim, Stacy, Is there any other opposing vote? Passes 6-3.
And to let the record reflect, I'm muted.
And me as well, because I've got to get to a basketball game. Thank you.
Bears.
Go Bears.
Yeah, go Bears.
Willie, 5.1.
We're gonna do 5 point, what were we gonna talk about?
6.6.
Okay, oh, you moved it to 6.6.
7, actually. Wouldn't it be 6?
Go ahead, Willie. Yes, I apologize. Yes.
We're still moving things around.
No.
Tough act to follow, gang. It's nice to see all of you. Thank you.
You may remove your mask.
Thank you. I hope it'll help people understand me. Thank you. I'm really excited to be here tonight. I have a lot of good things to talk about. The first one I'm going to talk about in the fundraising update is the Welch Family Memorial Tech and Clean Manufacturing Lab dedication. I've been working with Bill Welch, a graduate of Gilbert High School, and it's been some great conversations. We both we're very similar in age, and we both have a lot of the same memories. So it was a really fun connection, and he and his family would like to make a $15,000 donation, plus $2,000 a year for 10 years. The latter is to go right to the robotics team, and it already has this year, and we will recognize them. You'll see it as the high school comes together. You'll see where the Tech and Manufacturing Tech and Clean Manufacturing Lab is, and it'll be great. We'll do a plaque just like we have planned for all the classroom dedications. So it comes out to be a $35,000 donation by the end of it. So thank you to Bill Welch. That's wonderful, absolutely wonderful. And along those same lines, I have another wonderful announcement tonight, our naming rights agreement with Miners National Bank of Eveleth. And I'd like to introduce John Hole from Miners National Bank. Come on up, Jake.
Thank you, everyone, for allowing me to say a few words. I just want to say thanks to all of you for your tireless efforts in getting us to where we are today, for your vision and for your investment in our children. It means a great deal to us, and I just want to say thank you. And we are very, very proud and excited to support these efforts. So, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So much. Well, we appreciate that, John. Thank you so much. Your support is absolutely vital and contagious, so thank you very much. We look forward to this partnership forever. And, recognizing it, I know that's not important to you. I know you're giving for the kids and all of that stuff. Thank you for letting us recognize it also. So thank you. A couple others as we go through. You saw them in the consent agenda, but I like to still bring them up because it's just absolutely incredible what's going on in this fundraising for us. I mean, just tonight, not I, but I say it that way, I'm able to bring you $196,925. That's what is inside the consent agenda. And, you know, people that are giving in these stories that the previous two that we just talked about. So just tonight, it's $196,925 made possible by Margaret Harrington Conroy and her husband Bill Conroy. Virginia people may recognize the Margaret Harrington name because her mother was a long time, forever, maybe one of the greatest, no, probably for sure one of the greatest history, social studies teacher in Virginia high school history. So their family is buying a classroom dedication in memory of their mom, Mary Harrington. So thank you to Margaret Harrington Conroy and Bill Conroy and their family. An anonymous donation of $25,000 to our Rock Ridge Rising campaign. That finishes the $75,000 that was before the turn of the year for a $100,000 anonymous donation. So we thank the anonymous donor there. We have April Bartoletti with a wonderful donation in honor of Mr. V. Catherine McBride, Will McBride, and Laura McBride are all part of the Roger McBride family out of Virginia, and their $450 in memory of their father, Roger McBride, and in honor of Dallas Franson will go towards one of the music learning labs being dedicated to Mr. Franson, an absolute wonderful choir director in Virginia for many years. And that fund is still open to accept. I'm working with his daughter. She's going to make up any difference that we're not able to collect, Liz is, but that is still open for people that might be interested in giving in Mr. Franzen's name. And then along the way here, I've been lucky enough to work with Mr. Foster, and one of his, as you know, Mr. Foster's class is building all of the buildings and dugouts on campus. And Kraus Anderson's been a great partner in that, and there's 8 dugouts that still need to be built, 2 press boxes, 1 on each varsity softball and baseball field, and another storage building, 40 by 40, and that'll happen over the next 2.5 years. And they needed a trailer, and we were lucky enough to get some support for this trailer from some local businesses. Kraus Anderson, one of them, donated $1,500 to this trailer project. And the Virginia Eveleth Carpenters Local Number 606 donated $1,000 to this trailer project. Vertex Metal Roofing donated $1,000, and Altabelli Peterson Construction donated $1,000 towards this about $12,000 trailer. Now they can walk right in, sit right down. Right, I won't do that again, I promise. But they can walk. They've been having to duck on the first build. It hasn't been the most efficient. Now they can walk in. Now they can get it fully wired for Wi-Fi. He puts one of these TVs in there so they can watch what they're supposed to do today. The kids can watch it. He can pause. He can point. Now watch out for the safety part here. Remember, what happens in that trailer is an absolute outdoor classroom. And it was nice to get the donations from these companies to help us get that. And then ALI is helping with the rest of it. Roy Smith and the ALI group is helping with the rest of it. That trailer is here. This money tonight helps us now outfit the trailer with everything that's needed, all the drawers, everything. Now it'll all be customized for us to use forever. So this has been absolutely incredible. So again, thank you to everybody who gave tonight on this board meeting. And that gives us a 3-month total, which was kind of fun, of $352,175 just over the last 3 months. And I can't thank the people, the alumni, the companies, the businesses, the corporations enough. This Rock Ridge Rising campaign has been phenomenal. It now puts us at over $1.9 million that we've raised in this Rock Ridge Rising campaign to enrich and enhance the new campus. Thank you to everyone. Thanks, gang.
Thank you, Willie.
Hey, Willie, on my next presentation or something, could you maybe include what's still left on your list of opportunities?
I will.
Yeah.
Yes.
Next time or then whatever.
You bet.
Near future.
That sounds very good, yes.
Get back out and get some more money, Willie.
Thanks, Tom.
Management's never happy. Roosevelt Elementary Principal.
But do we have to, I mean, on the agenda, it calls for us to.
Oh, I
approve the
apologize.
resolution. I'd make that motion.
And I would proudly support.
I apologize.
In 5.1.2.
5.12, Matt and
You do both those together?
No, it's 5.1.2.
Yeah.
And I don't think how it was presented, I didn't think.
The point 1 is not needed. You are correct.
Right, thank
The
you.
resolution then, for the naming rights?
Let's consider approval.
it's just approval.
I know, but if it's a resolution, then it's gotta be done through roll call.
No, it's
Yes,
not.
for the Aquatic Center,
Aquatic Center.
Miners Bank.
So we have a motion by Matt, second by John. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried 8-0.
7-0.
Stacy left.
Oh, and Brandy. Yeah, 7. Five two. Roosevelt Elementary Principals Report. Scott Manny.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here. I've put a couple documents as references for everybody. I just want to talk about, one is what we're doing now, and another is where we're going. So the first one, if you want to look at, is our Reading Olympics. So right now we are in I Love to Read Month. There's a pretty extensive list of everything going on specific to reading. So we, for the first time in several years, had a grand opening ceremony. We had all our students represent different countries. It was great to bring all our students together again for the first time in a couple of years. And if you notice, then we have our days where we're wearing like America Day on the 18th. One of my favorite ones is number 3 is our book recommendations. As many of you know, I have a YouTube channel, so I put out all my messages. So every day we have a student from a different class talk about a book recommendation for the school. So it's really fun to be able to get our students out there talking about their books. If you look at number 7, which is kind of neat, our goal this month is to read 25 million words. 25 million words. And I agreed to something. They wanted to pie the principal in the face if they could read 25 million words. So I agreed to it. And I think they're going to hit their mark. So I'm really, really impressed with our students, impressed with our staff, impressed with everything for I Love to Read Month. And then at the end, we're going to have our closing ceremonies. So, and then the 3 top countries are going to receive pizza parties for each of the grades. So teachers have put a lot of work into this. It is very, very well done. If you notice, all our doors are decorated with different countries, so they're learning about all the countries. It is an amazing experience. The second one I want to talk about is our Meteor Program. It's this one. This is really unique because this fits in our model of going to our high school academies. So what Meteor is it's how students can learn about themselves and what they're good at. So grades, we're piloting it this year. Ms. Zanikar in 6th grade, Ms. Engel in 5th grade. And if you notice, Wayfinders, students can really, through play, it's an amazing program. So if you want to look on this page in that packet, these are all the different games that we got for students to play. And in that, after their games, they have their play personalities. They can understand who they are and where they're going and what they need, right? So, and then if you look at the last page, it's their profile. Are they a crowd pleaser? Are they a hard charger? Are they a deep thinker? So they keep journals. Here's the copy of the 5th grade journal. And at the end, it's kind of neat. They create their roadmap. This is who I am and this is where I'm going. So year 1 is mirrors. Year 2 is looking out in windows. And then the 7th and 8th grade curriculum, which is our flint and steel. So students can figure out who they are and where they're going long before we get to the academies in the high school. So it's going very good. I just want to highlight kind of our 2 different programs, kind of one where we're going and then our Olympics where we are.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Hey, no problem. And if you want to come watch me get pied in the
I'm going to be there. You tell us.
The staff even asked if they read, could they have 1 too, so I'm fine with anything.
Mr. Krisbach used to say that, and he camped out on the top of Parkview many a winter night.
I've heard that.
Thank you very much. Item number 5.3, request from the City of Gilbert to Rock Ridge School District to sell parcels owned by the district within the City of Gilbert to the City of Gilbert once the buildings have been removed.
Is this for informational purposes only?
Yeah, this resolution is kind of I don't know, it's kind of bizarre because we've always said, who's been with me since the beginning, that we were going to sell these buildings at nominal fee, and if the buildings are torn down, the land would be sold at fair market value. That's how I always remembered it.
That makes the most sense to me.
Certainly be consistent with our discussions with the city about.
Absolutely, and for some reason, this whereas,
Yeah.
whereas the city would like to acquire those lands for a nominal fee, and then they also mention is whereas on the third paragraph, it says that the resolution shall serve as a formal request that the Rockridge School District shall sell for a nominal fee in parentheses. I mean, it's always been fair market value.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you may want to look at this and go back to the city and
I myself think that we should take it into
consistent.
consideration and not make one.
Because I do believe the city of Virginia is selling all their extra parcels at fair market value. And I do believe Evelyn is selling their parcels at fair market value.
Yeah, I guess
This is premature.
I know, I'm just,
And the fact is, what if somebody
It's hard to-
advises?
I mean, so it'd be hard to adopt this resolution
Right.
as presented, so I would request.
it is adopt, I mean.
No, let's not. Does anybody have a problem with us not taking any action on it this evening?
I have no problem with taking no action.
No action.
I don't know. I don't get it. I don't get it why it's on the agenda. I mean, we can pass whatever we want.
Right. Okay, no action taken.
Yeah, I guess I would go on record if we need to, or if anyone asks, that if we do demolish the buildings in Gilbert, that I think it would behooves us to, the people we're elected to serve as a school district, that we don't give property away.
Right.
And if we're gonna spend 2 million or whatever, or 3 or 4 to take those buildings, I'd love if the city of Gilbert wanted the buildings, and we'd give them all in a heartbeat, or I certainly would vote for that.
Yeah. And the only other thing I might say is it's not signed by the council, so. It's signed by
The council took the action.
Or in the newspaper, they did.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we'll move on. There's no action taken.
Move on.
And administrative items, consider approval of Rockridge's best forest report. Scott's?
What's it?
Scott, oh, yeah. Geez, you.
All right. I just wanted to kind of give you a summary of the world's best workforce, and there's 5 goals. And the first is all students are ready for school, all third graders achieve grade level literacy, all racial and economic achievement gaps between students are closed, all students are ready for college and career, and all students graduate from high school. So just to give you my timeline of events, September through October, we analyzed our data. We had a committee meeting in December. We had a stakeholder meeting here in January. Now I'm kind of bringing it to the board, and I handed everybody, this is kind of our identified needs. And I just want to highlight a few. Speaking with the community, they talked about the importance of inter and intrapersonal skills specific to students coming back to school, because many of them haven't been in school for a couple years. Being able to bring some of that stuff back in and teaching students how to be students again. The other one is the academy model at the high school, because to be able to take 2 independent schedules, Evelyn, Gilbert, and Virginia, merge them into the academies, and where all of those college and the schools classes fit is going to be a big process, but I know they're working on it right now, so when the new high school opens, it's going to be seamless. We had a little dip in the number of students who were taking college classes this last year, and I believe that was because it's COVID related and distance learning related, but when the academies are all built, we should see those numbers increase. And the last one I think is critical is connecting our students and families back with the school community. So one example is our Title program is our program for students who struggle in reading and math. We're going to have 3 family nights now before the end of the year to help connect them back to the schools and bring everybody, especially with all the new buildings, I call it, we're bringing them back home because they've been away for a couple of years. So that's kind of the summary on where we're going on the world's best workforce. Do you have any questions?
Scott?
Yes.
So, when was the Curriculum Advisory Committee, the Statutory Curriculum Advisory Committee formed? And how many members did we have on that committee?
The curriculum advisory, that's Alicia Schroeder's responsibility. She's the director of curriculum instruction for our district. So I would connect with her.
So did we have a Curriculum Advisory Committee?
I'm not sure.
And so if we did or didn't, as far as, you just talked about a stakeholders meeting, and that was just one meeting last month?
Yep, I had a stakeholders meeting. I showed all of our MCA data.
I know.
To that, yes. But as far as the curriculum one, that would be under her umbrella.
So when you, did you submit the World's Best Workforce Summary to the Department of Ed?
Yes.
Okay. So as I understand, on that form, we're to list who our Curriculum Advisory Committee is and people and who they represent?
When I filled out the form, I had to list who the advisory for the World's Best Workforce was, not the curriculum meeting.
The Curriculum Advisory Committee.
Yeah, that one I didn't, that wasn't part of my forms that I filled out.
Okay.
Just an FYI.
And then the meeting dates, and when this was published on our website, and the meeting dates that it's a statutory committee, the Curriculum Advisory Committee, and I, as far as I know, we don't have one.
Okay, that I'm not sure on.
I guess I would probably reach out to that. Ms.
Alyssa?
Schroeder,
Yes.
all the information you
All the information specific to the Curriculum Advisory Committee.
Although that was supposed to be in the World's Best Workforce report, so that's why I was asking. Okay, I will. Thanks.
Very good. Any other
Hey,
questions?
just a comment. I don't understand what Marzano or Hattie's teaching practices are, or Costa's level of questioning. Are we talking about Bob Costa or?
So, like Hattie wrote a book called Visible Learning. Was a meta-analysis of what works in teaching. Like I'm actually there's a group of us from the district taking a class through Harvard on making learning visible and how we can better improve it. It's instructional best practices in instruction. And then we had our PLC work on it too. So it's really teaching our teachers and our staff best practices in teaching. And then like the Costa's house, a lower level Costa's question would be like gathering information. On the top of the house, it would be like analyzing, synthesizing information. So what we're asking students to do, what level of the house are those questions? So it's really analyzing our practices.
Thank you.
Yep.
Very good.
Thank you, Scott.
Thank you very much.
Any other questions? Okay. We will move on to consider approval of resolution closing the Roosevelt Elementary.
Are we going to approve the report? We need to approve that. It's best workforce report.
Thank you, John.
I'd make that motion.
We have a motion.
Second.
by John. Second by Addie. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Six and one. Thank you. 6.2, consider approval of resolution closing the Roosevelt Elementary and the Gilbert campus.
So moved.
Motion by Tom,
Done.
by John. Is there any discussion? No further discussion? Tom, yes or no?
Yes.
Yes. Bill?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
Matt?
Yes.
Polly?
Yes.
Nicole?
Yes.
And Tim is a yes. So it passes 7-0 with 2 board members not in attendance for it. Second one, consider approval of a resolution in support of Congressional IDEA Full Funding Act. And this is cross subsidy and amount of money we get back from the federal government for mandated programs, and they're not meeting the mandates. And our congressional team at MSBA, and then I sat in a meeting with Stauber. He has a bill in where they will start funding the mandate fully, and it'll go up to 10 years, and then we'll be finally mandated. Because right now, we get, I believe, like $1.8 million a year. We're mandated to do it, and they don't pay it to us.
Oh, okay.
I'll make that motion.
So we have a motion by Tom, support by John. Any discussion?
I just have a question. I support this idea and this resolution, but there are tons and tons of bills going through the legislature, and I don't know how we will decide which ones will come to the board for support or not.
Well, I asked for this resolution to be put on because the MSBA is tracking all the schools in Minnesota that are passing this resolution, and they're sending it out. They already talked to Amy Klobuchar. They're talking to all the legislators in Washington, and they're trying to get this passed this year.
So is this like on MSBA's list of priority legislation for this year? And
Yes.
I know they have plenty of others too. All I'm saying is we could have, tons of them every meeting. How do we cherry pick the ones that we want to endorse or not?
This one hits us right in the pocketbook.
Well, a lot of them do. Almost everyone does. All right.
So,
Just a question. I think, do we have another one here too coming up, or just this one for tonight? Just for tonight, okay, this one.
any other discussion? Roll call. Nicole,
Yes.
Holly,
Yes.
Matt,
Yes.
John,
Yes.
Bill,
Yes.
Tom.
Yes.
Chair votes yes, 7-0. Thank you. .4, we have taken off the board. Consider approval of space, 16,720 square feet to Evelyn Gilbert Arrowhead Head Start, and 16,165 to Virginia Parkview Arrowhead Head Start and in-kind contribution to the Arrowhead Start program for 21-22 program year.
So moved.
We have a motion by Tom, support by John. Any discussion?
Yeah.
What is this for? What is this for, Tim? This is for just increasing the square footage for the,
We give them in-kind space in our school building.
who are you giving in-kind space to?
Head Start.
The Head Start.
Okay.
And so my question and my concern is, if we give in-kind, that, to me, that's like subsidizing Head Start. And I'm not sure that we legally can, it's like giving money away by not charging them lease. I mean, they've got their funding, and we certainly could use the money for them leasing and renting their space, and I'm not sure that we can subsidize like this.
I think that didn't we subsidize Chickagami for years and years and
And
years
that-
while you were on the board? at the
No,
time?
and I was always against it, that was not,
No, there was a
I hear what you're saying, Paulie, but I think, with Head Start, that's so fundamental to our core mission that I think it helps us to have them in our buildings.
It may or may not, and it may drive students to our school district, entering kindergarten in the early 4s and 5s. Also, I'm just saying about the allowable expense, a public purpose, there's, laws subsidizing another organization that has its own funding, and the square footage, that means that's less square footage for our own students, of our own taxpayers and our own parents. And I remember, like in Gilbert, Head Start would use the rubber gym, but nobody else could use the rubber gym, so that meant that all the Nell Sheen children could not use the rubber gym. And the cafeteria, you have to schedule. Our priorities are our students. And, when you have to share these facilities, and I suppose there was the media center and everything, our taxpayers pay for our children. They may become our students in the future, and I just think this should be for discussion purposes only tonight also.
We have a motion to consider the approval.
Polly, it's when the remodel is done on the Parkview, I can't tell you what the dollar amount that Head Start put into the remodel alone.
That's in the past.
That's in the past.
Yes.
And what they put into installing playground equipment, they did, and it may be set up as a lease, I don't know that anymore. It's been so long, but they have contributed to the school district.
Yeah, that was then, and this is now, and that wasn't the case in Evelyn. It may have been the case in Virginia, and we don't know. Excuse me, I'm not finished.
Continue.
Yeah. And I don't know, in the new buildings, these are the buildings that exist now. In the new buildings, what is the talk or the plan? It hasn't been discussed across this board, as far as I'm concerned, about giving them space in the new buildings, whether it's the Parkview or the North Star or the Laurentian Elementary, and do we have room for that? Are we, or don't we, and should we?
This was all figured in when they designed these buildings.
I don't know who figured it in, but it never came before the board.
So we have any other discussion? With no other discussion, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No. Nothing against Head Start.
Consider the support of 6.6. Consider support of a coalition construction sales tax exemption. These are two bills from last year that they're bringing back at the Minnesota House and Senate, and then House Member Lizagard is bringing a new one for this year, retroactive. All the sales tax money that we have put into our construction of our buildings would come back. It would be exempt going forward also.
You have any idea how much we're talking about? I guess, and I'm fully supportive of this. I think we'd be silly not to support it, but at the same time, I think that this is a great example of, it's one thing for us to support something that could potentially mean money back to us, because anyone other than a fool would not support it.
Yeah,
but it's another thing to actually have some boots on the ground in St. Paul. And we're looking at, some significant shortages to finish our project. And the state has a record surplus. And I think it would behoove us to have, like a lot of area districts do, to have someone to support this and to be down there and attending committee meetings and to talking to people that are going to decide whether ultimately it becomes law or not, advocating on our behalf, because I certainly don't think, I'm certainly not able to advocate on our behalf with education and to get things done like consultants can.
This was put in taxing schools was put in 1991.
Yeah, well, I'm aware
And
of
there was a budget deficit. Now they're
Governor
trying to
Carlson.
reverse this.
Basically, the one we approved last year, the year before, was just a sales tax on everything that the contractors bought for the project, from plywood to nails to steel. All that money that was paid, taxes on those products, would come back to the district.
Yeah, and Lizagar's is, the ones that they're bringing back from last year are catch-all. Lizagar's is actually, and I can't find it here. His is for 4 schools on the Iron Range. So, but.
And it would be retroactive?
Yes. So.
Certainly Representative Lislagard would carry our interests very well.
Yes.
But he might appreciate some help also.
Well, the thing is, we can't go down there.
Well, we can't.
No. So
I'm not suggesting we do.
We pass this, I will send him a copy of our resolution. So.
I guess what
Or
I'm
not a resolution,
suggesting
it's
is,
just a copy that the school district actually.
I think it might be time for us to look at having someone on the ground in St. Paul that advocates for our interests.
Tim, I have a question. Okay, so school districts, any governmental entity, we're tax exempt. So this would give the exemptions for construction materials for our contractors and our,
Yes,
they would get all of the materials tax exempt. I'm asking.
The taxes that they would pay on it, all those taxes on those materials would come back to us. There'd have to be a form you'd have to fill out, if I remember right.
yeah, I don't know how they will do it, but.
They've paid the taxes. We have paid them that amount with taxes, so we get that money back.
Right.
Okay, and then it says there were rules and administrative burdens. Is that going to be lifted then, cumbersome rules and burdens? Shifted the considerable risk on local entities? I mean, so I don't know what that means. Would they still have to go through this process to this so-called cumbersome process?
Excuse me, but how I read it is purchases in the future would not be subject to state sales tax.
Period.
Correct, and that they're talking about some sort of a retroactive thing where if we have paid those taxes, that money would come back to us.
Correct.
Okay, so in the future, if there's no sales taxes, so in the future, we will not be getting any money back. It'll just be no sales tax.
But we won't be paying the tax.
We won't be paying it, and our bids already have that in.
But we don't pay it anyway, the contractors do. So all I'm saying is, if we end up, could I just try and understand this so I know how to vote? So I'm sure everybody doesn't understand it either, everybody, you know. But so, okay, if we in the past would get some money back from, in lieu of the sales tax to the contractors, if it changes now and they won't have to pay tax, that means we are not going to get anything back. They're just going to not have to pay tax on construction materials, right?
That's correct.
Correct, our bids will be lower.
Well, maybe not. I'm just saying, I'm trying to think this out because this is so confusing to me, and I just want to understand it. So it'll be a big burden lifted on construction or companies, construction, the industry itself.
Pass that burden on to us, though, Paul.
Why would it be a burden on construction company?
It won't be a burden. It'll be a burden lifted on them from sales tax.
Okay,
I'm just trying to understand.
I don't see that either, Paulie. As long as you have a contractor, that contractor is going to buy the materials they need, they're going to pay the taxes on them. All this is going to do is bring the money back to us that we paid them for taxes.
But businesses are tax exempt anyway. I mean, I had a small business myself, so they're tax exempt. I just don't understand. Is this redundant? Your business, you get tax exempt from sales tax.
I don't.
Don't you?
Probably, did you make a motion?
I made the motion.
Sell products.
That's how,
Right, for
that's how mine is.
resale products.
I don't pay taxes by taxes. I pay it on the front end and pay it on the back end.
Right.
And to follow up with Dr. Schoberg said. I would like to look into somebody helping us out in St. Paul. I think after we open those bids or see what the bids were for the North Star building next week, I think it might behoove us. It might be best if we had somebody waiting for us. Best interest on the forefront there.
Okay, so we have a motion and support to consider the support of the Coalition for Construction Sales Tax. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Carried. Thank you all. Meeting announcements.
Oh, we got,
I apologize, 6.6, policy 206. What do we want to discuss about policy 206?
Well, I guess I brought it up, and then Brandy's gone now, too, so. I think there's a lot of confusion about our policy and about visitor input and about if a person from the public or a board member wants to get something put on the agenda. And those are two different things than wanting to be on the agenda for an agenda item to speak, for the public to speak. And over the past months and months, I think I have, and I think most of us have had communications from people upset that they were denied to speak under visitor input. Now, just for example, I had forgot to bring it up earlier, but multiple times, and tonight and today, we got one from Catherine Disterhoff and asked to be read because she has been hit with a trespassing charge and she's not allowed to come here and give her own input. And so tonight hers wasn't read, but it did pertain to agenda items. And that has happened to her in the past, which I'm sorry for. And other people have been denied visitor input when they said that, and even as lately as tonight, on agenda items under the consent agenda. All I'm saying is there's a lot of confusion. I think there's inconsistency in bringing forward that policy. I think it should be revisited, maybe first in committee and or a committee of the whole, because we all have a stake in this with our and our public and with our public, and we may want to revise or clarify that policy. There's actually two policies that talk about public comment and visitor input.
I agree with you. I think I voted to have this added to the agenda as well because it just seems like we're looking for any reason to not to allow somebody to speak, and I don't think that's why we're here. I think if that's a valid reason, if they're on the agenda, if they fill out the form, they should be allowed to speak. I think it should go back to the policy committee and if it needs to be streamlined or whatever, I don't know.
It's gone, John, it's gone back twice already.
Yeah.
So that means
I reread it. I have copies of it here for anybody that wants it. If it's not on the agenda, you can't speak on it. If it's on the agenda and you want to speak on it, you can speak on it. You have to do it within 24 hours of the meeting. I mean, it's...
But Tim,
this young lady that emailed us last night and then emailed us today and asked someone to get back to her, the person that she had the conversation with, which she said in her email today for over 2 hours on Saturday, was me. She just said, I want to talk on the input. And I told her no, but be more specific. And she said, well, I want to talk about the consent agenda. I said, well, be more specific.
Yeah.
And she gave me items, and 3 of them I told her she couldn't because we as board members don't even talk about them.
Okay.
It's personal data. The 3rd one, or the 4th one, I told her yes. And she didn't come tonight. And she said, I want to know who's in charge. And the policy says, bring it to the superintendent or the board chair, and they will approve it. It's crystal clear. It's just if you only read part of the policy, yeah, it's not clear, but if you read the whole policy, and I was going to highlight it and send it to her, and you know what? I went over backwards. I must have had 6 emails with her, and she still then comes back and says, I want someone to tell me who's in charge here.
Okay, well, if that's the case, I mean, if
I have a different opinion, and Tim,
Oh.
that is your opinion, and she did ask for 3 items that are on the consent agenda, and you denied her 3 out of 4, and it's on the consent agenda, so if it's on the agenda, can you speak, or can you, or does the board chair have the right to say no if it's on the agenda? So I think we need to revisit, I think the full board needs a working session on this, not just the policy committee.
No, you know,
It's my
the
opinion,
motion to do it, I mean, to me, it's crystal clear.
but it's not crystal.
If you read the whole policy, it's crystal clear. And yes, the public may want to discuss something, and I'll come right out and tell you, they want to discuss resignations.
And
I don't allow board members to talk about resignations. It's data privacy, it's personal information. If you, as a board member, or if a public wants to know why Matt quit coaching, they should go ask Matt. They should not bring it up in front of us because there's data privacy issues.
But you don't know what she was going to say was data privacy. She might have had some suggestions or questions. You don't know that. You assume that.
You know what? I had 6 emails with her, and
She sent me all of them. I have.
good, I'm glad you got them.
I asked her for them. So again, I think it's not only misunderstood, I think it's been interpreted
People
wrong.
prompting people, you're
I
going to get
didn't
it.
prompt anybody.
Then why did you answer her? Is there a motion to
You
send it
attacking
back
me.
to the policy committee?
Why are you attacking me?
Is there a motion to send it back to the policy?
I do think it's common courtesy to reply to someone who does email you, but
I did.
I'm not saying you didn't, I'm just saying in general.
I think, I'll support bringing it back to the policy committee just to look at it. To see what's, I mean, we get all these emails, and it's just, it doesn't, and I hate to respond to them because I don't know which board members are responding, and you don't want to be at risk of the open meeting law.
That has nothing to do with.
Well, I'm just saying, I mean, it's something that could be hidden in there. If you got 5 board members,
I mean, we haven't had
We aren't conversing with each other.
a meeting in a long time. I mean, are we having has it been are they batting over? I mean, getting asked to speak, you're not getting allowed to speak? I mean, there hasn't been a public speaker in a long time.
that is correct.
Tonight there was one, but she didn't show up.
Okay.
There were more than one.
Well, the policy says you have to talk to the superintendent or the board chair. I don't think any of us have the right to answer those emails. If they want to be put on the consent agenda or the agenda, any of the agenda, they have to speak to the board chair or the superintendent.
And they did, and they were denied.
And we can also say, thank you for your email, please contact, which I do, our board chair.
That's totally appropriate. So.
Still had a motion, I think.
I have a motion just to take it back, take a look at it. I have a motion.
I have support.
There's a motion
Would you,
by Bill, support by John to send it back to
Just for review.
the policy committee. All those in favor signify by saying.
One question.
I'm sorry.
When was the last time the policy committee reviewed it and brought it back to the?
Within the last year.
Right.
I can find that.
There's actually a couple other,
It's been reviewed twice
Right.
last year.
there was 206 and then there was another,
There's 206 and 207.
203 or something.
203,
Lots of,
3 who needed to go. A few that we have to review, but
And
we
it-
haven't yet.
It kind of just goes to show that it can be refined, anything can be refined and made better, and that there are questions and there have been concerns, and so there's no reason why not to review it.
Okay. I'm ready to vote.
any other questions, comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? No. So we have 2 noes and 5 yeses. We have Polly, John, Bill, Matt, and Nicole. Okay. And meeting announcements, the next regular board meeting will be on Wednesday, February 23rd at 5 PM here at Rock Ridge Admin Building. We are now going to go into a closed session. to discuss teacher contracts. We will be not making any decisions. When we come back, we will come back only to recess the meeting. May I have a motion to close this session?
Make the motion.
Is there a second?
A second.
Nicole, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried at 7:27.
Take a short recess.